Okay. My new friend Bill.
What's
What's up?
going on? What's up, Corey? How you
Thanks for
doing, man?
joining me, man. I
Thanks, man.
appreciate you hanging.
Thanks for inviting me.
You know, we're gonna go some places today. Probably talk a lot about maybe talk about stand up comedy, talk about some pro wrestling, talk about some military things, talk about some security things, talk about some life things, and I just figured you're going to be a guy who's going to have a lot of really interesting takes on those things.
Thanks.
So first off, pronounce your last name for me, please.
Last name is Huebener. Huebener. Huebener.
Huebener, Bill Huebener.
Yep.
So, Bill, how long have you been doing comedy for?
It's going on a couple years now. Yep. Started down here in Kingsland, Georgia, and all over the place now.
That's a very. Sorry, I'm going to pick on you for a second.
Go ahead.
Very, very non-specific. It's going on a couple of years now.
Yeah, a couple years.
But non-specifical.
2 years. It's going on 2 years. Ready to hit my 2 year anniversary, and it's freaking going nuts. Like it took off just doing mics to features to doing shows. Uh, Out in Waycross, Georgia, Kingsland, Georgia, St. Mary's, Georgia, Jacksonville, Daytona, Orlando, and St. Augustine, and then this weekend down at Clearwater Comedy Club for 2 nights.
So it's funny you mentioned it earlier to me that because of your height, everybody automatically assumes you're in the wrestling business.
Yeah, when I'm hanging out with other wrestlers, they're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, no, like, nope, just tall and sexy. That's all."
Yeah, misconception. 'Cause-
I always wanted to. I always wanted to.
yeah, I mean, there's differently sometimes, and I say this to people when they talk about how it's something that they've always wanted or something that they didn't pursue, and then they start getting on themselves and feeling bad about it. And I go, it's not for everybody, and it's not only because it's hard, but there's lots of sacrifices, and there's no immediate guarantee that you're going to get anything from it other than CTE.
Being
There's
6'7" on a submarine, I think I already have plenty of that because you do whack your head a lot.
yeah.
I think what's funny. I was just telling a buddy of mine. I think, being 53, there's no way I'm ever going to get in the wrestling business. But being a stand-up comic, it's kind of close. I think, because I can
Oh,
still talk shit, throw a promo out once in a while.
it's exactly similar. Like, yeah, I always make the comparison of how similar it is. The biggest the biggest similarity is the crowd reactions, the up and down on the crowd. But the thing is, like the stakes are so low. If I tell a joke that sucks, it just sucked. It's not that people are gonna go like you effed up, or like someone's gonna punch me or someone's gonna stiff me on purpose. It's like I get all these reactions and I get to keep my regular clothes on. I get to keep the clothes. I get to show up there in the clothes I'm wearing, and I don't have to take them off. Like in wrestling, there's the whole costume change. It's like once you, and I compare that part of pro wrestling to Drag Race, like RuPaul's Drag Race. When I watch, I'm like, I compare pro wrestling to drag queens so much because, like, I get my custom made gear made. Like it's and then when it comes and I put it on and I put all my gear, my boots and everything, I don't feel like if someone goes, "Hey, you want to talk about our match?" I'm like, "Let me put all my gear on first so I can believe I'm the person who has to have this match." But like when I come to comedy, I show up the way I am already there, and I just do it, instead of getting myself into a believe mindset. I already believe it.
I think in wrestling you kind of got a uniform too, because I kind of go darker colors, short V neck, like you bring it.
Oh,
And that's what I
in
dress different
comedy.
than I do in real life. Like real
Okay.
life, I'm walking around the street in shorts and wearing a Goonies T-shirt. On stage, I'm wearing like a dark shirt with some jeans and trying to like emphasize the big guy thing. Less hecklers, by the way. 6'7" guys do not get heckled.
Yeah. There are weird unwritten rules in comedy, like where they're like, "Oh, you can't be handsome and be funny." I like to think that I'm remolding that unwritten rule into something different because it's like, oh yeah, if you started out handsome and you were handsome the whole time, no one cares about your take on things. But like I was this skinny, fat, awkward, like stupid bowl cut kid. Like I grew into this handsome guy that you
You have
see.
a picture? Let's put it up.
Throw it in there. We're gonna edit that in.
Yeah, I was silly. Like when this is crazy. So when I was in high school, I think it was like my sophomore year, I was only 5'5".
Mhm.
Over the summer, my junior year, 6 foot, graduated at 6'3", and then I joined the Navy and I kept growing. It might have been the nuclear reactor in the submarine, I don't know, but I got up to 6'7". I was a late
Mhm.
bloomer, and I was goofy. Big hands, big feet. Couldn't talk to ladies. I had that. Oh, what's going on, ladies? Like, get away from me, creep.
Well, I mean that in a way becomes its own charm. You know what I mean? Like you kind of like lean into being the goof, especially then going like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start doing comedy. I know, I know, like you said, it's only you started comedy 2 years ago, but I'm sure it's something that has always been in you as
Yeah,
a desire to get up there and have something to say.
yeah. I've I have friends that always said I've always told a good story. Actually, it's funny. I can say 2 years, but I think what year it was. It was like mid '90s. We went on deployment, and when you hit that halfway, it's called halfway night. So if the deployment's 6 months long, 3 months in, you do halfway night. You do like a talent show. Guy comes out and plays his guitar. You play card tournaments. We play a Madden tournament. We make a whole day of it. So I signed up for the talent show and I did comedy. I did stand up for the crew while we were sitting in crew's mess, and I just kind of roasted everybody on the boat. And just did impersonations and just got silly with them, and I ended up winning. But then it's hard in the Navy because I lived in Norfolk, I've lived in Great Lakes, Illinois. I lived in Hawaii. Like you move around so much, you don't really get fixed into a place where I said this is where I want to do an open mic. You just don't know. It's hard if you don't know how to do it. You can't really figure it out unless you. Now it's easier. Social media, you go Google, oh, open mics, let me try.
Hmm.
But before the internet, unless you knew somebody that was a comedian.
Yeah, I I feel that same. That's where wrestling is very similar, because when I started wrestling, you didn't just Google wrestling train. Like the internet was barely a thing yet, and you had to know somebody who knew somebody who could point you in the direction of smartening you up,
Yeah.
because it was very protected back then.
Oh yeah. Well, like we were talking earlier
Yeah.
about X Pac, hanging
Mhm.
with Hogan, like, hey, let me get a chance. Let me get a chance.
Mhm.
And he finally did it.
Well, it's funny because like Pac was like considered a small guy, but in today's standards, he's a big guy. Like the but back then, what was he? What is he? 6'1"?
Yeah, he's not and he's a thin guy. He's not.
No, but I mean, like compared to the current age, like modern day wrestling, he's bigger than all those guys.
Yeah,
Like there's a difference between and tell me if you see this, and I for sure have noticed it, and maybe have called it out a few times now by watching. If you go back and you watch wrestling from the 1990s, right?
yeah,
You watch it and you go, I wouldn't test any of these guys. I wouldn't pretend like I was going to be able to get in a fight and hold my own with any of these guys. But now if you watch wrestling now, you're like my my little cousin could probably beat these guys up. Oh, or like just like it's just like a before I think wrestling was I'm trying to think of how to make this point. I have made this point before. Before it was pro wrestlers who were playing a character of a different guy, but now it's people playing the role of pro wrestlers, and there isn't the character to it like there used to be.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe because we were younger. I mean, I would look at these guys like I started watching wrestling at a young age, like pre WrestleMania, right? Before the first WrestleMania, and when everybody was broke up in the regencies, right? Because you had like the Southern wrestling, with
The
like Rick Flair.
territories,
Yeah, yeah, the Southern Territories, and that was like Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen and those guys, and they were larger than life. Like you saw them, you're like, yes. And then like you had, who else? You look at somebody like the Andre the Giant. Like you're right, you would never mess with that guy. That guy would eat you like a fucking grape.
right?
Then I look at the guys now.
Or like a peanut.
You're just
Anybody
like,
want a peanut?
yeah, like you would see the guys now, like they're jumping off, they're doing twirlies in the air, and it's more showmanship now. I think back in the day, it was more powerhouse. You see like two semi trucks just like colliding with each other.
Right,
Yeah, you look at who is it? Big Papa Pump. What a freaking monster! Like I would not.
right,
That dude is legit scary.
right. Yeah, 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 yeah. It just feels like it feels like the the exclusivity of pro wrestling. Like they used to make sure you were worthy of being in it
Yeah,
before they'd let you in it, and then they let that guard down. Like the gatekeepers went, "Oh, okay, we're not gatekeeping anymore. We're just gonna let everybody do it." And I mean, it has its good it has its good parts and its bad parts. So you're gonna have a kind of a learning curve on some things, and there's gonna be this is part of me saying that thing to you earlier about it's not for everybody.
yeah,
Like it really sometimes, you know, people got to be honest with themselves and ask like, why, why, why do you want to do it? And also, then can you see the people wanting to pay money to see you do it? Would you pay money to watch yourself do it if you weren't you?
yeah.
That's
I think
that's a
yeah, close that is. What you just said. Take wrestling out and put stand up in there.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
Because you got to get there. And this is what I like. I never asked to be put on a show, right? I believe in the grind. Probably a lot like wrestling, right? You get out there in the smaller you wrestling in high schools and shit, the $20 shows, and you put in the time, get the bumps. It's just that's open mics, right? You go to crazy ass. I remember I did an open mic one time while they were playing Jenga. You know how hard it is to tell jokes while people are not looking at you? But you
Mhm.
do it, you work on your timing, and then eventually you'll have a badass set, and then a seasoned comedian comes up and says, "That was pretty funny, Bill. What are you doing next week? Do you want to come and be a guest spot?" Like I just I had a buddy of mine. He let me my first ever guest spot is I went to a show to support him and another comedian, and I said, I wasn't even expecting to get on. I wasn't there to ask. I just put right place, right time. And I get there and I'm like, hey, he's like, oh, it's so cool you came. I'm like, yeah, because I fucking love you, dude. Here's, I bought my tickets. And he goes, you want to do 5 minutes? I said, yes. And then that happened. And then I was put on a rooftop show. I did a big old show down in Jack's for Toys for Tots. And then eventually just, you're getting the time in, you're getting the reps in, like wrestling. And
Hmm.
you gotta stay focused, but not everybody can do it.
Right.
Like yesterday, my buddy Lance Weiss said you'll see a lot of people doing open mics, and you got to realize like those people won't be there forever. You'll see the guys who really take this shit serious, who are actually good, will put themselves above the herd.
I'm gonna make another weird comparison.
Yeah.
I I've said this a bunch of times, and it goes back to thinking about like the guys when I decided to start pursuing being a wrestler, and the type of men who I looked up to, the type of characters who I looked up to, and like compare myself to them now, and I've passed them. I've gone beyond them, and then I started going like, I have done more and forgotten more about pro wrestling than most people will ever do or ever know. So then then I apply that to comedy too, and I go like, well, I've done enough rooms, I've done enough mics, I've done enough things that like eventually it's very similar where I've done so much, like way more than I would have like imagined as a kid that I would have ever done.
Yeah.
So I gotta give myself my pats on my back. It's I think I have tried to eliminate doing self-deprecating humor. I know it's supposed to seem humbling and everything, but I don't want any doubt to creep into my head that I'm not awesome. Like I like me a whole lot. And I've been working on like I honestly have been working on liking me a lot my whole life, and I finally really do.
Yeah. I like that. I think I'll always be humble. Like I'll see, bigger name comedian, and I wouldn't say, hey, I'm better than him. I don't think I'll ever say that. I'll say, I think I can do that. I think I can. I try to like see somebody and I want to go to that next level. Like, oh, you know what? I did 30 minutes. Maybe I can do 45. Maybe I could do an hour. Could I do all hour? And then that just encourages me to say, let me see if I can write an hour's worth of material and line it all up. The
Hmm.
self-deprecating stuff, I'm not like Rodney Dangerfield, right? That's like, I
Oh,
usually
I'll tell
myself
you.
get pick. I tell you, I get no respect. I usually it's just picking fun at how I was raised. Like I have a bit about going to an adult store with my wife, but I was raised Catholic, and how I get all nervous when I'm in there. I told her outside the car, talking a good game. I said I'm gonna buy this thing and this thing and freaking this thing. But I get in there and I'm like, I can't look at everything. This is embarrassing.
Yeah, I've watched you do that bit. Yeah. We're like,
That's about as much deprecating that I do. But then I also back it up with I'm 6'7" and I'm freaking sexy as hell. Come on.
what? What's weird is like I have friends, and I'm not saying any names here. I have friends who are big, who just because they're big, uh, have never been in a fight or never been in any kind of combat situation where it's like just because they're big, people are afraid of them right away, and they don't have a reason. Well, not afraid of them, but just they're just nice and they're big, so people go like, "Oh, don't mess with him." But it is like there's a level of humbling that comes with having some experience in combat in some way.
You need to get your ass kicked every once in a
Yes,
while to remind
you.
you. Just like you have to I always say comedy, like you're gonna bomb. Like you need
Yeah.
that bomb to look at yourself and say, all right, this is where I need to improve. Like why didn't that joke go off? Like was it too much? Was it too dark? Was it too naughty?
Do you have a joke that you do that like you're not sure of the reaction? Like, do you think like have you bombed with a single joke more than once?
No, I've. It was funny you say that. So I was just saying this yesterday. I've written a bit that would crush in one room, right? Just and it was just awesome. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm keeping it. Next day I go to another show, same joke, same crowd, same fucking building, and people just go. I was like, why doesn't it work? It worked yesterday.
Right.
I
Yeah.
said, and then I'm thinking, okay, let me go back and I got to review the tapes, like a football player. I'm like, all right, what do you hear? I was in the pocket on this one, and I was like, all right, maybe it's how I said it. Maybe it was the momentum. Um, maybe I wasn't looking at the crowd, because sometimes I try to make sure I'm eye contact with everybody. It's always something, but I know jokes that don't go off at all, and I just take them and it's like, domo, I like not gonna use that one again.
I have like certain I have this one joke that some rooms it just kills and some rooms they just stare at me. And I have I've now come up with an alternative. So like when I hit the punch and it doesn't if it doesn't work, I'm thinking an alternative to go like here's where I'll go instead. Like if that happens, if it pops, then I won't have to worry about it. I'll just move on to the next thing. But
That's
it's
a
all
pro move, dude. That's because you got to have shit in the toolbox, right? Got to
right.
like you write your set like, okay, I'm doing 15 minutes, right? And one of the biggest I got advice from Jay Lawrence. He's a New York City guy. Jay said,
Mhm.
hey, make sure everything flows together. Like you can't do a joke about being in the shower with a gay ghost. It's one of my, and then go on to something
You
that
have a
talks about
joke
medical.
about being in the shower with a gay ghost?
Yeah, I'll tell you the story. It's fucking
Please
hilarious, right?
do.
Right?
I really
So
I wanna
this
participate in that
this this
conversation.
this really happened. Not the gay ghost part. I just wrote that bit. So I get up in the morning. I'm ready to go to work, and it's like 6 in the morning. My wife's freaking out cold, right? And I have like I go in my room. I got the shower, and then I have a walk-in closet with like an automatic light. Like you walk in, the light comes on.
Mhm.
Nobody else is up. It's just me and my wife and my dogs. I'm sitting there showering, and then all of a sudden, poof, that light goes on in the closet, and I was like, "What's up?" And I look, and there's my dog standing at the bathroom door, staring into the closet. I'm freaked out. I was like, I said, "Hey, Kathleen, are you awake?" Kathleen, she's like, "What? I'm trying to sleep." I was like, "Well, it's not her." I said, "It just magically went off. It's never done that before." So I wrote the bit, like, I think I'm in the shower, and the ghost only comes out when I'm in the shower because it's a gay ghost. He's like, "Woo, boo, bitch! Drop the soap." That's why I buy liquid soap. Takes longer to pick up. Yeah.
I I have this bit that I was trying to do about being in the shower that I've never been able to do it because I can't. I you know what I was at a workshop and I brought it up like a joke workshop when you're just talking about you're just
Yeah.
with other comics like talking about opening your joke book and looking at jokes. I said something and no one related to it and I thought everybody could relate to it, but it's like like when you're in the shower and like the wind blows somewhere in the bathroom and then the shower curtain blows up against your leg and you're like, get off me, I'm having my deepest thoughts right now. The shower's where you have your deep, you stop touching me, I'm trying to have my deepest thoughts. And it fell flat on in that workshop and I was like, all right, I guess because
You gotta.
nobody.
I think you could redo that one, or because make it because you're in the shower, right? I was talking about this before. It's like you're most vulnerable. You're butt ass naked. But anything can happen. You are freaking naked. Like you're vulnerable, and anything happens, like the wind. You're like, you don't know what to do. That's fucking crazy. You got to buy one of the doors instead of a curtain, and you'll be good.
I had a door on my shower at my house, at my old house before I moved here, and it was so shaky and loud, like like when the wind would blow, it would just the door would just go in the track. it was distracting.
Did you have one of the
Yeah.
sliding doors?
Hmm. Yeah, but
That's some
the
old school shit right there.
yes,
That's
yes, very. You
nice.
know what I thought? I thought of something when you were telling a story earlier, but didn't I didn't clock it at the moment. But what it was, what I was thinking of, because you were telling me about how you were doing impressions, and I was and you call them impersonations, and I was thinking if you only do different accents, would those be called impersonations? You're doing accents of people from different nations.
Impersonations.
Impersonations.
I like it. It probably looks good on paper in person,
My
and then in nations.
impersonate. It's always weird to me how like impressions and impersonations are the same word, but like they're not. Like they mean the same thing, but they like don't. I had a bit about it where like if you say you were doing it, English was the joke was that the English language was so weird. It was like you're gonna do an impersonation of somebody and you're gonna do an impression of somebody and it's gonna be the same thing. But in Spanish, they don't have a word for toes. They just say like feet fingers.
That's
Like I don't know the Spanish phrase for it, but it equates to feet fingers. It's like
that's awesome. I need to.
and then
Oh my god.
I just thought of I just thought of this right now. What would what would a Spanish speaking person call a tow truck? A feet fingers truck?
It sounds like if you know any German words, Spanish is nice because Spanish it'll come out. It sounds nice. Like I saw. So if you go like in Italy, you go to hospital, right? It's what was it? Hospital, hospital. It sounds perfect, like hospital. You go to Germany and you go to hospital. It's called Krankenhaus. Like ambulance, ambulance. Germany, it's Krankenwagen. It's like
You
oh.
know, it's that sounds like that should be called Hispanic because you're panicking as you're saying.
Yeah, Germany, man. I thought you can't even talk sexy in that language.
You might be able to. I mean,
I've
it
seen the
depends on who.
videos. They're not
I
talking.
guess I think sexy is an opinion based phrase. I mean, it would be all dependent on the person who is hearing the word sexy because what one person thinks is sexy is way different than what another person thinks is sexy, right?
Oh yeah,
So, I mean, it's not a fact.
it's some deep. I think I'm too sober for this conversation. Bring the mushrooms. He got the whole backdrop. This is perfect.
Yeah, I'd hope that most conversations I have with people are like sometimes too deep, and I think in comedy, I hit the line that's like a little too deep sometimes, and I go, oh, I gotta dumb it down a little bit. Gotta try to dumb some of that down a little bit. Not because the people are dumb, but the people maybe aren't ready for the way that it's coming out.
Yeah, that's a read in the room thing. Like I have a bit about taking a shit in a porta potty in the Middle East. Like that cold brown hits and all you see is that one porta potty over there. It's 125 fucking degrees. It's a
Hmm.
nightmare. You're in there taking a shit, sweating, feeling trapped like John McCain in Vietnam, and not a lot of people get that.
Right. Yeah, because he was a POW.
It's not no bash on John McCain, but
No, no. I mean, anyone could be one of those. It's not like it's not like it's a bash on anybody. To go, oh, you were in war and you got captured, loser.
that's what Trump said. Oh no.
No.
But it's funny, like if I say that big crowd, I'll hear pockets of laughs, and they're like, "Oh, that was good." Like, but not everybody gets that one, or they just feel bad for laughing. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't laugh at that. Comedy, you gotta laugh.
Um, Listen to this joke.
Okay.
What do you call a porta potty that's all the way full?
What's that?
At capacity.
Oh my God. All right. And
Bye.
I, I love the dad jokes. They're freaking hilarious. No, I love them.
I, it really porta potties is a weird thing. Like nobody wants to use one, and like I feel like I feel like you know when people say Porsche and they pronounce it Porsche, like they add that little sh. Like
Yeah.
that's basically you making the Porsche closer to a porta potty, a Porsche potty. Crap yourself in a Porsche.
I can't
It's a
handle it.
Porsche potty.
They're terrible. Even the ones on base, because some hardcore shipyard workers are blowing it up in there every day. Every day. I was like, no, I'll hold it. I got an hour drive home. I'll be
Shit,
prairie dogging.
shipyard, shipyard.
Oh man, shit.
The poop deck.
Never said that. The only time I heard that was when we went on a fucking carnival cruise. By the way, don't do it. Don't go on a carnival cruise.
I've been on two Carnival cruises before.
Oh, I went. It's funny. The one a couple years ago out of Jacksonville. They
Mhm.
changed the name. It was the same freaking cruise ship they did the documentary about, the poop ship. When everybody
Oh,
got,
shoot.
I was like, why didn't you tell me this before I got on? It was,
What was
it,
the name of it?
uh, God damn, it was some silly name. I can't remember. But somebody told me that the one they just the documentary is on Netflix.
Yeah, right.
They
Yeah.
changed everything. They cleaned it up and just rebranded it and put it in. Yeah, don't ever. I tell you, this is how bad cruise ships are, right? Especially Carnival cruises. Like I was against abortion before I went on, but those kids are so goddamn terrible. I left the ship pro-choice. That's how bad it is.
Yeah. Just kids anywhere in general. Kids are always bad. I just
Were we
can't
like
stand
that?
it.
I wasn't like that. I know I was an asshole, but I wasn't going out and doing mall takeovers and shit, like whatever they're doing now.
Right.
Like down
Did
in
you?
Daytona, they just had spring break. It's actually I think it's still going on. And my sister's down there. She rents the umbrellas and shit. 100%. There's like thousands of kids just on the beach. They're not even having fun. There's nothing for them to do. You just go on the beach, you end up fighting. Somebody made a noise sound like a gun. They all freak out. But back then, we had the 80s, right? 80s and 90s. It was great because you had MTV down there. You can go down there and the Beastie Boys are playing. There was shit to do. Now it's nothing. Now these kids are just so bored they want to wreak havoc on everybody's life. You should be able to hit them. That's what I think. Make that a law. Like a little
Yeah.
throw
You
punch.
know. You know. Then the thing is, they're gonna be able to hit you back. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a mess. Can I ask you one more time, Bill? What's your sister do?
She rents the umbrellas. Like you go down to Daytona Beach and you get like the chairs and the umbrellas and like if you want to get on like a little board, like she runs like that whole section of the beach.
Can I tell you something you might not be ready to hear about your sister?
What's that?
She's in a shady business.
The name of the business, Cool Shades. It's hiring shady people. I like that. I'm gonna tell her that. I'm gonna call her when we get done. Like you're in a shady business. Yes, I was trying to get her some business because last time when I met Kevin Nash, I told him because he lives down at Daytona, and I was like,
Hmm.
hey, if you ever go down there, go find my sister. She works for Cool Shades. I said, I already told her if you get down there, she'll hook you up. Like you got family down there, she'll take care of you.
I mean, does Kevin Nash find himself going to a beach?
Probably not. Probably not.
He seems like the not to be surrounding himself with other beach people kind of person.
Yeah, I think he's always out traveling. Every time I see him, He's always at some different venue,
Right.
but he's
Yeah.
freaking awesome. He's one of my favorites.
His podcast is good, man. I listen almost every week. I mean, a new episode came out today. I didn't listen to it yet, but uh, I'm I'm usually on top of listening to, and sometimes that'll be one of the shows. And I'm such a weirdo with podcasts. I listen to some episodes of podcasts multiple times because I'll put it on and I'll fall asleep, or I'll put it on and I'll wind up doing something else and miss some of it. So I'll listen to it again just in case I pick up on something I didn't pick up on the first time.
Yeah. Well, I drive almost an hour to work, so it's always on the way there. It's a podcast. I listen to like Joe Rogan, or I listen to like Shane Gillis's podcast because they're all just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Your Mama's House, that one's good. That
Mom's
one's
house,
good.
yeah.
Oh my God, that shit's hilarious. And then I used to listen to why am I forgetting his name right now? 3D wrestler.
Bubba.
Bubba Ray's
Mm-hmm.
podcast. I like his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like to hear the old school inside baseball from back in the day. That's
Right.
just always nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I most of the time am listening. If I'm listening to any podcasts, I'm listening to Jim Cornette, the experience in the drive-through,
yeah,
uh, and then Kevin Nash, and uh, if if you don't know of this podcast, check out Wrestling Soup. You might also like that. That's pretty good wrestling podcast that I listen to.
oh, that's awesome. And then this one too, evolving.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this isn't necessarily a wrestling podcast as much as it's just like a hang, and we happen to talk about. It's almost unavoidable that wrestling comes up because you're talking to somebody who's surrounded myself with wrestling for most of my life.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a whole mix of things. Like, but I also like when I started doing podcasting. My first podcast was in 2012. I started a podcast with my friends called Wrestle. Oh, I'm sorry. It was called Pod Trash, and we were doing Pod Trash for I think we did 13 episodes,
yeah,
and then we transitioned it into being wrestling related, and then we went and started doing Wrestle Rock was what it was called. So we were doing Wrestle Rock from 2013 to probably 2021,
yeah,
and as we were doing it, I then well, we had because we were renting out studio space on a weekly basis. So we would rent a like a internet radio station on on Friday nights, and let's say it was $75 for the hour. So it would be the three of us. We'd all had spend $25, and then we'd rent the room, and we would have guests on, and it was pretty cool. And then it got to a point where I would I would be talking about things that I want to talk about, and it would be like, well, we don't have time to talk about all that because we got to talk about pro wrestling. We got to
yeah,
stay on theme. We got to stay on brand. And then I started listening to a lot of podcasts that were very deep and things that I liked. I really liked Joe Rogan a lot. I really liked You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes. I really liked Duncan Trussell, and I wanted a lot of things to talk, like to get into comedy and talking about some deep things, and I was like, I'm going to start my own thing, and in 2017 I started doing this because I was a guest on my friend's podcast that was in the studio in Langhorne in my old hometown,
yeah,
and and when I was a guest, I said to her, I was like, "Hey, how much do they charge you for renting the studio?" And she was like, "Nothing." Why, you want your own show? And I was like, "Yeah." And so then I described to her what kind of show I wanted to have, and she connected me with the guy, and she was like, "Yeah, tell him what you just told me," and I did. And he was like, "Yeah, Mondays are yours." So I'd come in every Monday, and I do so I'd be live on the internet radio station for like all of Monday evening, where I'd like play songs and I talk and do stuff between stuff. And then I started going, all right, I'm going to start recording these and making this a podcast. But
Nice.
that was where the origins of this started. And you know, I never like picked up a huge audience or anything, but it was definitely it was all reps. You know what I mean? All
Yeah.
reps. Versus like the guy I was when I started this versus the guy I am now is completely different. And I like that it exists as like a time capsule on my life. Because
Yeah.
I remember my mom had burnt this CD, and on the CD she got voicemails that were on her old phone from her mother who had passed and her best friend who had passed.
Yeah.
And she said, "You know how like when people die, you kind of like forget what their voice sounds like. I
Yeah.
want to have that so I can listen to it." And I remember thinking right in the beginning of it, I was like, "I don't want that to ever be the case." So like when I die or any of the people I care about die, that we forget what their voice sounds like, we can go back as a timestamp and listen to on the record conversations that we had. So I had a lot of people on the show who, you know, aren't aren't with us anymore, and I've gone back and listened to those episodes, and it's really been therapeutic for me. It's been really cool, and that's why I like to say when I'm on the record with you, how important it is for me to let you know that I'm so grateful for the currency of your effort and your attention. That's the valuable currency.
Thanks, man. That's
And
awesome.
want to let you know, man, if you ever feel like you need somebody to talk to, you ever need me to be a resource in any way that I could be for you, don't hesitate to ask me. I'm right here for you.
Yeah. I like this. This is what I think. This is what I like about the comedy scene, right? Is you and I, we've never met before. We've only been talking on emails. You know, you've seen my clips. I looked at your
Mhm.
stuff. But then we're helping each other out. Like if I know if you come down here, you're good, right? If I go back up to Philly, I know we're gonna freaking hang out. Now I know you live right by the airport, so that'll be great. You can buy me dinner. That'd be cool. Lobster, steak.
Mhm.
Don't take me to McDonald's.
No,
Uh,
no cheap places.
yeah, and I like to look at stuff from a distance sometimes, and then I see some of like the bigger comedians, and they all know each other, right? If one shows up on this show, he's going to show up on this show, and they're all promoting each other and helping each other out, and you're like, what shows you got coming up, and this and that. It's pretty awesome,
Hmm. Yeah,
and I like making new friends. You know,
it's a little bit, and you hear Joe Rogan say it. It's like wrestling. I'm not wrestling. Excuse me. He'll say like comedy and like podcasting is a meritocracy, where people go like, oh, if this guy is good, it's gonna show up. Like it's gonna show that he's good, and other people who recognize how good he is are gonna put that person on, and it's gonna be a net of people who want to see that person do good. And this
yeah,
is kind of why I want to be building scenes. Like I want to build my own scene. I want to build my own structure as far as like a platform to be able to put people on it or to be able to, you know, voice stuff that maybe didn't get the opportunity to be heard by somebody who needed to hear it.
yeah. I think the cool thing with podcasts, because just from my point of view, I think comedians got to have that likability. You know, like I like Mark Norman, right? I've seen him on podcasts.
He's
I
been on
watch.
this podcast,
Really, he's freaking. I like him.
episode
Yeah,
58. Mark,
nice.
yeah,
He is freaking great. But you see, like I like this guy, and he makes you. I can watch a show and I can relate. I'm like, okay, he's likable. I will spend money to go see him. Like
right,
if somebody's an asshole, I'm just not gonna deal. I don't give you my time, man.
right.
Like when I go on stage, I'll go there early, hang out in the crowd, even if they don't know I'm going up. Just talk to people, be friendly. After I'm done, after the show's over, I go mingle with everybody to get to know people,
Right.
And then they have that likability, like, oh, Bill's getting up, he's cool to hang out with. I'm gonna, get a babysitter, spend money to go see Bill.
Yeah. We're, I'm trying to become a drawer, brother. I want to put asses in seats.
That's it. That's
Put
it.
asses in seats. I want to become a marquee name where people go like, "Oh well, I'm gonna mark out for this guy because his name's on the door. I'm gonna go sign up and I'm gonna pay my money and get a seat to support him." Because if it's funny because you talked about likability, and I
Yeah.
have this I have this line that I've been trying. I haven't used it anywhere, but the thing is, the line is like, I've been told I have likability, a lot of likability. People always go, "Oh, you've got lots of likability," and then like they start talking to me, and I tell them I'm the version of me that if I wasn't me, I'd wish I was me so bad, and I think that takes some of the likability away from me.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
have a,
it's not arrogance. It's for sure humble. I've been sucked version of me for a really long time in my life that finally I'm at the point of the version of me that I like so much, but
yeah,
it's hard to make people understand that right through a sentence.
yeah. I have a rule. This is how I make friends. Like, Corey, I think me and you, this is how it's going to work. If we could go on a road trip for 8 hours and have a fun road trip and just talk the whole way, you're legit, right? You go into the I'm going to hang out with the Corey folder right here. Psh. Like, I
Okay.
got people that I couldn't handle. I couldn't drive up the street with them. I'm just like, oh, you're so dumb. Ah!
Yeah. Well, it's sometimes it's just a lack of depth. I think sometimes it's just like some people aren't dumb; they just don't have the life experience to have that built-in depth that comes with having life experience.
Yeah,
Young people, they seem to have a whole lack of depth because of a lack of life experience.
yeah. A lot of my jokes are just from my 53 years of being on this earth. A lot of them coming from the Navy. Like, I could say I've been all over different countries. I've experienced stuff, you know, and younger generation, they don't go outside. They go to school, they come home, they do whatever, and they don't. There's no social engagement. There's not going. Like, you're not going to create life stories. Who was it?
Right.
What did I see? They said when you're younger, I remember in high school, right? That 4 years of high school seemed to go on forever, right?
Hmm.
4 years now goes like that,
Hmm.
and it's because you're young and you're making memories, right? So you're resetting the hard drive every few days with new memories, so it seems longer. Now, older, you're like, I go to work, I come home, I sit down, and but even now, my age, I'm trying to make new memories. More stuff that I do, more stories I could tell while I'm on stage. Like, put yourself in the situations. Like, go here, go to Jamaica. I'm gonna go out to Japan, and I'll go by myself. Like, I got a story for you. Ready? This is how I am. A few years ago, when I was with my old company, I was out in Japan for 3 months. I was staying in Namba. It's like the second largest city. The guy I was working with,
Did
he
you
went
just
home.
say second largest and you held up three fingers? I just
Yeah,
want
it was my thumb. There we go. It sticks out. Second largest city.
yeah, yeah,
Good.
cool.
That means you're paying attention. I like it.
Uh,
So the guy I was working with went home to Tokyo to hang out with his wife, and I was by myself. Big ass city. I was like, I'm gonna go out. I want a Kobe steak. So I always leave. I grab a company card for the hotel, so I know where I'm going just in case I get drunk. I go out and start hanging out with these guys from Georgia Tech. Right, one guy's a football player. We were drinking all night, drinking sake, eating Kobe steak, just getting hammered. Then me and this other guy who was a little bit shorter than me, we're walking outside, and a Japanese guy comes up, and he's like, how tall are you? I was like, I'm 6'7". He goes, can I get a picture? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like sitting down here. And I'm like holding on to him, put my hand on his head. And then other people see this, they start taking pictures and coming up. And then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have a little fun here. They're like, what do you do? I was like, oh, I'm a football player for Philadelphia Eagles. Like, if hey, you're cool, dude. If you ever want to come out here, there'd be a ticket waiting for you at the stadium. Just tell me, look for Bill Huebner. And then I end up signing autographs. Like people were like, who get autographs? I'm in 10 minutes span. I go just taking pictures to signing autographs to all these random Japanese people who have no fucking clue who I am. Oh, this is a good time.
Yeah,
Japan's awesome, by the way. I love that place.
yeah. I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to wrestle in Japan because the art of wrestling in Japan, the sport of wrestling in Japan, is major.
Do you think Japan is to wrestling as Austin is to comedy?
No.
You don't think so? Because I know a lot of these wrestlers, they always talk about their time in Japan. It always makes them better.
Well, I mean, it's just like a comparison wise, like Austin is a city in America.
Yeah,
Japan is a country outside. Like so, it just seems like it's not like it wouldn't be seen as like greener pastures. Everybody wants to go there to be a part of the Rogan sphere.
yeah.
Like there isn't a Rogan sphere in Japan.
Do you think you got to go, put Japan in your resume? Like you said, hey, if I went and performed a bunch of shows in Austin, to get that cred for the comedy. Like if you go to Japan and wrestle, you're like, oh, he wrestled in Japan for so many years. Like,
Well, it's a weird thing that I've always messed with around in the back of my head. It would go like, you would want if you want to go to Japan, the only thing that's going to look good on your resume is if you wrestle for one of the companies that everybody knows about.
yeah,
If like, what would be the point of being on a shindy in Japan? You could just be on a shindy in Philadelphia, you know. So it's it's a weird
there you go.
who knows type of way in and out.
Nice. Would you go down to Austin now?
It would everything is depending. Everything would depend on what the opportunity was and like where I'd go. My old co-host for my podcast actually is a bartender at the mothership now.
There we go. It froze up for a second.
Not not to say that I have any ins
Yeah.
at any of this. Like I would hope that like hey, I could record some episodes of my podcast down there.
That'd be
And
cool.
like if if it got to the point where people are talking about it because of that like live podcast idea I was telling you about earlier,
Yeah.
I don't think I've talked about it on here, but I definitely want to have some sort of platform that's similar in a way to Kill Tony, where it's not a it's not a roast. It's more of a constructive, where it's like somebody does a set, and that doesn't necessarily have to be 1 minute. And I'm not gonna have a panel bashing you. It's gonna be you're gonna do a set, and then come back to the desk like Johnny Carson, and we're gonna talk about your set. We're gonna talk about where the origins of that joke came from, or we're gonna talk about your joke writing style, and I'm gonna try to lend you some tags, and then we're gonna have that same room
Yeah.
maybe next week, maybe next month, and we're gonna attack it differently, and we're gonna talk about it differently.
Yeah, I did like that idea. Sounds fun. Get some people exposure.
Right.
Oh, I get.
And it's going to fall under the evolving banner because it is evolving. You know what I mean? You're evolving your set. You're evolving your joke structure. You're evolving the way you do things. This is I I don't only want to start things to help me. I want to start things to help everybody.
See, that's commendable because I like that too. Like, I've had other comedians give me an opportunity to get better and get on shows, and I want to do the same for some of them other comedians. Like I'm gonna shout out my friend Heather Hutchins. She was living out in Seattle. She went to some classes out there, really got into comedy. She's like naturally funny, and she's a great person. But she had breast cancer, it was downhill. She had to take chemo. It was a rough time for her. And then I kept telling her, it's like, hey, get back into comedy like this. And people joke about it all the time, but comedy to me is therapy.
It
It
is.
helps you feel better. You get that dopamine when you crush. So she came to some of my shows, and it kind of inspired her to get back into it. Now she's hitting the mics again. I if I have a spot for her, I'll put her on. Like, hey, 10 minutes. Like we did a show here recently at the Lions Club. We did a benefit for blind kids. They raised money for a camp for blind kids,
Mhm.
and I put the word out like who wants to be on the show, and had a solid lineup. And this is like the first time she was on a show, and she crushed it. I was like, you instantly love her. You're freaking great, right?
Nice.
Again, I give her an opportunity, and hopefully down the road she pays it forward to somebody else.
And the healthy way to look at it is like there's no one else, and all humility, I want to mention it. There's no one else who is competition to me. I'm not looking at anyone like they're competition to me because in no world does anyone else have the same voice I've got. Does have the same take I have the same experience I have. So like I'm like even if you do better than me, that doesn't mean that it clashes with anything I'm doing
Yeah,
because you're uniquely you in every way and nothing's going to take that away from you.
yeah,
So why not push up the fact that like you could now have a platform that what if I give you a platform and then you have your own thing and then later on when it becomes big I'm a guest on that and it winds up helping me. The rising tide boosts all ships or whatever.
yeah. Like the big guys do it all the time, man. They support each other. There's no competition at all, at all.
Right.
I don't like comedy clicks, and this person does this, and then they bash on this person for doing this. There's no reason. There's no reason. You should be happy. Like, hey, good job, man. That's awesome. I'm freaking rooting for you, man.
Do you like seatbelt clicks?
Seatbelt clicks. Like, now you don't like those assholes. Seatbelt clicks.
Click it or ticket.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think, I was saying earlier with comedy with therapy, like, it's in my bits, I always talk about it. But 2 years ago, I was over 400 pounds.
Yeah, I
I
was
was over,
about to ask you about that. You were a chunky boy. What happened?
I, I got scared. It's funny. My daughter has epilepsy,
Mhm.
and she was getting this thing. I guess a little thing that's in her chest connects to her brain. Like whenever she has a seizure, it detects it, or if she feels it, she hits it with like a little magnet. And she told the doctor that she wanted to get off the meds, so because she's married now, she's gonna have kids. And I was driving home thinking, I'm a fat piece of shit. Like I want to be around for the grandkids. I don't want to have the scene from The Godfather where I'm playing in the tomatoes and then like, so I was like, you know what? I cut
So
out.
getting comedy where tomatoes get thrown at you, you don't
Yeah,
fall in
then
them.
I can just eat them as they're coming
Uh-huh.
in.
Sure. Yeah.
I realized, like, say, you know what? I'm gonna cut out fast food. I'm gonna cut out, the sweet coffees in the morning and the baby Ruths, And just started losing weight, and that on top of comedy, just my mindset is it's better. Like my outlook on life is better. Like this is something. So this is like one of the things you always want to do when you were a kid. Like when you're sitting and drinking, it's like, what would you do, instead of your regular job? Like, I'd own a bar, a comic book store. This is mine. I want to do this for a living.
Um, I like that. I respect that. I think one thing that might change things a little bit more for you if you're interested would get into like a serious like weightlifting serious weightlifting program
I got a
because
trainer now. She's kicking the
like
shit out of me.
Good. That's awesome. But I mean, like, just basic bodybuilding stuff with weights is such a I always advocate for that because, like, when you're doing cardio, when you're doing cardio, the calories that you burn, those you're done burning them. Once you stop burning them, you're not burning them. But you lift weights, you're sore the next day, stuff's burning. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that. It's not necessarily like, oh, I'm only doing work when I'm doing this work. The work is continuing beyond.
yeah.
So
That's what I like. I see my fitness coach 2 times a week, but I try to work out every day, sometimes twice a day.
mhm.
I like, do a little cardio in the morning, then hit the gym. And that's just right that, just like walking by the mirror in the morning, like nice. You're looking good, man.
Yeah, man, that's this thing I'm talking about. Like being the version of you that you always wanted to be, or being the version of you that you'd envy if you weren't you, is what I want everybody to have. That I want everybody to be incredibly happy with who they are, rather than try to tear themselves down in some way.
Yeah. Yeah, I just gotta, and I want to be a good person. I told a story last night because there's a comedy class, and we went there, and I was talking to some of the students. There was a moment a few months ago at the mic that we have here in St. Mary's. Every other week, my friend Sean and I, we would set up the show, make it like a showcase open mic. And there was two sisters, older, like 60s, late 50s, would come every 2 weeks just to see me, right? Every 2 weeks. So I see them walking out of the car, and they just look beat up. And I was like, "You guys good? What's going on?" And the one lady goes, "Bill, I just had to bury my son today, and I need a good laugh." And I was like, that freaking hit me hard. I was like, that means that's what I'm doing is making her happy. She just put her son in the ground and she's going out of her way to come see me tell her jokes, so I can make her life a little easier. That was it. I said that's
You,
my goal.
what if you said you had to bury your son today? Let me see your hands. Are they calloused? Did you have to? You had to do. I can't believe they made you do it. You're like in your 60s,
It's like that's all you can get a freaking haul.
right? Didn't they have a like a backhoe that you could hold on to or something?
It's really one of my former bosses when I used to bounce. He passed away, and then he used to live down here, and his wife reached out and goes, "Hey, we're gonna bury his ashes in the cemetery." And I'm like, "Okay, I appreciate you invite me to come out." So I had to get a shovel, and I was gonna meet him out there. And I'm driving around. It's like an old cemetery, and at the same time they're doing a walk for Alzheimer's. And I told my wife, I said, "Hey, when our friends are doing this walk and they walk by the cemetery, don't tell them that I'm here. I just want them to look over, see me walking in a cemetery with a shovel. Just let that go. I want that question. Like walking, gonna go dig up some bodies, no necrophilia."
I have this joke. I don't want to say it's a joke because it's not. I haven't done it on stage. I
Yeah.
don't think I'm going to do it on stage. It's just something I say to people who I know because it makes me laugh. My my I'm getting married. I'm getting married in 3 months. My fiance. I don't like saying fiance. It seems too fancy for me,
Call your ex-girlfriend. My ex-girlfriend. This is my ex-girlfriend because she's gonna be your wife.
dude. That's perfect. Yes, I'm gonna start calling her my ex girlfriend. Yes, but so she was on this medication and she stopped taking it because she found out that the side effects were Alzheimer's symptoms. And I said, she skirted it. She didn't get Alzheimer's, but she did get some Heisers.
That's, that's terrible, but I like it. I like the bad jokes. I do.
Yeah, that's all I do. That's my whole like I got this whole deck here of cheesy joke cards, and my jokes are better than those ones.
I like the cheesy ones. My wife loves. I tell her this joke all the time because I know it gets a laugh. I said I woke up this morning and I tried to catch some fog, missed.
Do you know one that I do all the time? Like, no fail. I'm going to do it anytime it's a windy day. I
What's that?
say, ask me what I think about this wind.
How you think? What do you think about the wind?
It blows
Perfect. Perfect.
every single time. Never on stage. Just a thing I do.
So you and the wife gonna have kids? You planning on
No,
kids?
no,
No.
no. Kids are not for us. I mean, my little sister just had a baby, and we are the godparents to that baby. So
Nice.
we will be godparents. We will be a good aunt and uncle, but having our own kids is not in the cards for us.
Being a good aunt uncle is great because you get them all hyped up, like, yeah, let's go, and they give them right back.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
see ya.
That's the plan. Yeah, when I mean when the boy is like, a couple years old, I'm gonna be like, candy, all of it, all the candy, and then, all right, time to go home to mom.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I just got my daughter, which it was funny when she was, before we had kids. I was like, I always wanted a boy. I always wanted a boy. Somebody you could like do man stuff with. And then I realized being a girl dad is amazing because you can do guy stuff. I could take her fishing, watch Star Wars, play video games. At the same time, when she was little, we'd still have tea parties. One time, she painted my toenails. Right, totally forgot. I was like, it's adorable. She painted them. The next day, I had to go to medical for a physical or some bullshit. Forgot my toes were painted all different colors. Doc's like, should we talk about this? I'm like, daughter, Doc, I got a daughter.
They had to go to medical. They they were gonna call a tow truck, but then they didn't.
A foot finger truck.
A foot finger truck.
That's a callback.
Call back. Expert expert at the podcasting. I have a couple more things, man, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you off into the sunset, and we're gonna rock and roll. Um, I know we talked about joke writing stuff, and I know you said you'd tell a lot of stories.
Yeah.
What's like your normal like method for writing jokes? Do you usually write out every word that you're gonna do, or do you just kind of like bullet point it and kind of fill in the
I,
blanks?
I got two methods. Like if I'm driving, like I have, I'll show you. I use the Google Notes, right? All these are
Mhm.
jokes. Right there. If I'm driving home and I'm not writing, I could just say, "Hey, take a Google Note," and I'll just tell the story. If I'm home, I got my joke book. I'll just write it down. I practice it. I'll call a friend. I gotta say I'll call you on the phone, and it's like, and I'll just tell you a story, and then I'll listen to your reaction, and then I'll say, okay, I need to add because you got to do the rule of three. That's like the comedy
Right.
cheat
Yeah.
code.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then I write from there. Now, what's crazy is I'll write down what I'm going to say, but when I'm on stage, like something happens, right? In a good way. I
Because you want
feel
to
this.
be there for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel the story, especially if it's a true story. All of them, pretty much 99% of my shit, I'm telling you, is 100% true.
Mhm.
Uh, and then I
It,
feel it as I'm telling. I'm watching reactions, like, oh, I said this. That's funny. I record it because I forget what I'm saying, and then I'm like, okay,
right.
I'll use that again and again and again. And then I'll write uh, short one-liners, some short bits. Now I might add them. I have a section called shower thoughts. Like I'll do a joke like, hey, can we call lesbians having sex lip syncing?
Hmm.
Sometimes they'll stay there, but if sometimes those jokes will come into a story. Like I have a bit about Hallmark movies, right? And then I have a bit that I'm talking about my wife, and then some now I'll just kind of like shift over into when I think I'm losing the crowd. It's crazy how it just happens. Like my brain works, these are the jokes I'm gonna do, and this is like the creative stuff that's going on live.
Hmm.
But I think the best advice that I got was from my buddy Jay. He's like, take 5 minutes, write a story, whatever, 5 minutes, and just keep working on that. Work it, work it, work it, work it, work it till it's freaking perfect. Then do another 5 minutes and work it, work it, work it, work it. And you got 10 minutes, and then you work those together and make sure everything flows in together. Like I start off with the hey, this is the silly shit my wife gets me out of the house to do, and I got a story, then a story, and then I go into like being married and being in your 50s and all, and it just kind of flows together like A to B, and all the shit in the middle to get to that right final point.
I got I dreamt of joke writing like the other night, and it woke me up. I had to wake up and write down this joke. It was like, whoa, right, like it came to me so quick, and I can't believe that I almost slept right through it. I almost went right back to sleep and forgot the joke. But do you want to hear the joke?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Know who I think is incredibly underpaid?
Is that
Bakers. Ask me why.
why?
Because they're always kneading dough.
And you thought about this in your sleep. That's great. That means your brain's always going, man. I love it.
Yeah, I'm in joke writing mode all the time.
I've done that, man. I've sat in bed and something pops in my head. This is usually like before I fall asleep, especially after I did a show. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it like this. So I grab the book and like, all right, cool, let's try it. Yeah, the best is check doing the shit with my wife. I'll walk into the other room and I'll just say something and see her reaction. If she rolls her eyes, probably not gonna end up falling in.
Right. I mean, when my ex girlfriend, my future wife, when she rolls her eyes at me, I know that I'm doing it good. Like I know it's usually when she's like, oh, and I usually know I'm turning that into something.
Yeah, well, that means your brain's always going. Like my wife the other day, well, it's like a couple weeks ago. I'm sitting here in my man cave. I was playing on the PlayStation. She texts me with a screenshot saying and asking me literally, "Did you use my email to open a OnlyFans account?" And then showed me it was one of them phishing emails. It was like, "Hey, your account's getting hacked into. Come in here and change your password." I'm like, first of all, don't click on that fucking link. Second of all, out of all the emails in the world, if I'm gonna go on OnlyFans, why the hell would I use my wife's email? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I said, but this is the silly shit that she asked me. I love her. She's freaking hilarious. She gives me shit every day. Every day she gives me material.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like that would be the last person's email you'd want to use to sign up for OnlyFans.
All right, I'll use yours next time.
Next time. Next time, sign me up. So at this point, I'm kind of the last parts here are me kind of turning things around for a sec.
Okay.
So that means I'm giving you the opportunity now on this platform to ask me anything on the record that you might be curious about or anything you want to say to me. You can say to me now at this point as like kind of like a kind of like I was saying to you earlier, how I like to have on the record where I'm saying that I want to make sure, I'm a resource to you if you need it, that type of
Right.
thing.
How do you write your stuff? Like, what is how do you perform? What's your main material? Are you a one-liner guy? Are you a story guy? Or
I'll do one liner chunk, one liner chunk. Like it's kind of like I'm going back and forth, and I'm still trying to. I'm still finding my voice, really, like more than anything, because I'm not all the way certain the kind of joke teller I want to be. I don't know what, and that's what the great thing about is having my own room so that I can lift these weights. You know what I mean? I can figure this stuff out as far as like look, I have this postcard right here or this index card here that I just got things written down, and it's like, oh well, that bullet points it for me, and I know how I'm going to deliver it in the bullet points, and it's flexible because I can add things in whenever I want or take things out whenever I want. and I'm in it instead of just reciting it.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely can't. Yeah, you can't recite it. I've seen younger comedians. I kind of was like that. I would write down and I would verbatim what I was going to say, but it didn't feel like Bill Huebner up there. It felt like Bill was reading something, trying to be funny,
Right.
and that comes out naturally. Like, yeah, fucking great. All right,
Yeah.
ready? Next question. Favorite wrestler, favorite tag team.
Um, favorite wrestler Triple H. Favorite tag team New Age Outlaws.
No kidding. Good choice. Yeah, I'm a Road Warriors guy. Always thought they're the best.
Yeah, they were a little before my time of being a fan. Like I I didn't think I became a fan of wrestling until like like the mid 90s. So like 95, 96 is when I became a wrestling fan and Road Warriors were not as popular anymore
No,
at that
you're
point.
right at the NWO time, the WCW WWF wars.
Yeah, my first and I've told this story on here many times. My my first things that hooked me and when I'm a pro wrestling fan for life now was the first Hell in a Cell match, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker,
Yep,
the debut of Kane. That
yep,
was that was what hooked me, and the Bret Hart, Stone Cold, Steve Austin at WrestleMania, the I Quit match. Those are the things that hooked me, and I was like, all right, I'm never not watching this for the rest of my life.
nice. I think what hooked me was because we'd go see it live all the time in St. Pete, and we went down, and it was a match between Barry Windham and Jake the Snake Roberts, and we were front row. And I remember this scene because Jake was always the heel, right? Barry Windham was like the baby face, and everybody loved him. But he brought a hanger out. We wrapped it around Barry Windham's neck, hooked it on the top rope, and then pushed him over. So he's hanging there. Ugh. And I'm watching this right there as a child, and there's like a little bit of throw up, and I was like, this is freaking intense. That's when I fell in love with wrestling. Uh, and then I got to witness like the explosion of it because you had, and this is why I think Cyndi Lauper should be in the Hall of Fame because she was. This is when Goonies came out, right? All the music videos she did for Goonies, she always had, wrestlers in her. She had Roddy Piper in her. She had Captain Lou Albano, and then at the same time you had Rocky 3, right, with Hulk Hogan as Luscious Lips and Mr. T. They were starting right because that was bringing
Thunder Lip,
Thunder Lips. Yeah, Luscious Lips. I was thinking of my wife. Um,
of course, big couple.
it's a Freudian slip. No. Uh, that brought wrestling into the mainstream, and then then you had the first WrestleMania. So it was, Mr. T,
Yeah.
Mr. T and Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff,
Hmm.
right? And at the same time, you had Cyndi Lauper with Wendy Richter, right? And then her getting pushed by I think it was Roddy Piper like pushed her, and I'm like, oh nobody touches Cindy, which just freaking went nuts. And I seen WrestleMania. I didn't go live. This is before pay per view. We went to Lakeland in Florida. It was a closed circuit TV event. Like it was in the arena with cameras everywhere.
Okay.
That's when I was like, I'm hooked. And then watched it a lot. And then when in 1996, right, that's when NWO formed in Daytona. I was like, this is cool. That made it seem real, right? You just saw these guys the day before in WWF, and then they're coming over with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. And now you're like,
Right.
what's going on? Like it made it feel like, hey, this is cool. And then of course NWO and Sting, and I've always been a Ric Flair fan. Like I was more of a WCW guy at the time, than I think at the time WWE got silly. I was like, oh, you're a freaking
Yeah,
clown. Like,
I like WCW a lot. I was a big fan of WCW. I felt like that was more pro wrestling, and WWE was more, or WWF was
yeah,
more art. Like they were more performing it.
yeah,
Like they were they were thespianing.
Well, they're smart though because NWO started kicking off. It's right, and that's when Triple H started with the Generation X. Like that
Right.
was their version of. And then
Right.
I was in Virginia when they had a WWF and a WCW event at the same time,
Mm.
and the X Degeneration X showed up at the WCW with
Yeah,
the
I remember
the
that
Jeep.
with the Jeep.
I
Yeah.
was like, it was almost the greatest crossover ever, but they didn't, they kept it
Right.
separated.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to keep them separated.
Yeah. Offspring.
Dude, the invasion sucked though, man. How cool could it have been? I remember being so let down by the invasion angle.
I think when the WCW got bought out and then they brought NW over, some of the
Right.
guys stuck, but I think it was McMahon's way of saying fuck you to the WCW. Like we're gonna take what you had and we're gonna kill it tonight.
Right.
They just kind of squished WCW down, everything. Even when they had the WWE and WCW guys fighting each other,
Right.
everybody was rooting. There was no, they were like killing it totally. Like you suck, you suck, you suck. But some of the guys that I love stuck it out. Like I love Rob Van Dam. Like he's fucking cool as shit. He stayed.
Yeah. Yeah.
He rolled over. Sting kind of went away for a little bit. Hogan stayed. The match with Hogan and The Rock. That's a Hall of Fame one.
Do you watch AEW?
I do sometimes. Not I because it's down here. I'll go see it when they're down here. But uh, it's good. But again, I'm old school, man. I like the big dudes just fucking clashing, and they're more of a high flying, luchador kind of thing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
most of them are like mid tier, mid card guys.
Very mid.
Yeah,
Very mid, as the kids would say.
yeah,
I I don't like the name AEW at all. Like like it seems like when I think of elites, I think of like the corporate elites. I think of like people who are not not skilled pro wrestlers.
yeah,
And and the thing is, the reason pro wrestling was selective on who could be in it and who couldn't be was because it wasn't for everybody.
yeah.
And AEW seems like, oh, this is for everybody. Everybody's doing this, and it's just it's too confusing and not one thing.
It's just I watch them and I see them. Some they're really good. I'm not going to take that away, but there's not anybody that gets any traction. Like I remember when Bill Goldberg came out, and like the Bill Goldberg's music used to be a generic entry music for WCW. Like there was another guy with the same, but Bill Goldberg came in, big guy, and he picked up traction quick. He was just on like the Saturday show, and just kept going and going and going, and there you go.
Yeah, I
Like
remember
you have a
when he was
big powerhouse,
first out.
and a lot of people like him. That was funny. I was like, how can you not like Bill Goldberg? Like he's a freaking monster.
Yeah,
But
it
I
was.
don't even see any WWE guys with that much traction. It's always the same guys, like always the main
Yeah,
event. So
it became less about the personalities and more about the flag waving of the team. It's like they don't want to let any of the personalities become bigger than the brand itself, because then if you're bigger than the brand itself, you can ask for what you're worth and or walk out and make the other guys worth more.
yeah, it's like
It
they had enough people in there, big names before. Like you had, The Rock and John Cena and Triple H, right? HBK, that you can change it up. Like you would have this fight for a couple months, and then you'd have multiple things. Now you just don't. You don't have. I don't think that you have that. So you're not going to get a Rock anymore. I don't think you're going to get a Rock.
well, it is it's way more fleeting than it ever was
Yeah,
because the attention span of the audience is way more fleeting than it's ever been. Like to be able to go, all right, well, we got to make this storyline build up until the major blow off premium live event in 3 weeks, but it's like, oh, the people are tired of waiting for it. Well, let's just build it up the day of and have it go out the day of.
Yeah.
It's a
And they
weird,
put a lot of restrictions on there.
right?
You're not going to get a Hell in a Cell anymore. Not like with me and Kai getting thrown all the way down, right? And get thrown on a chair. There's no more headshots anymore. Everybody's scared of CTE.
Mhm.
So it's like comedy. Like if you go to a show and they're like, "Hey, you're on the show, but you can't say this, and this," and you're just limited.
What's the most limited thing in comedy that you can't talk about?
Well, for me,
Yeah.
I can do clean stuff, but I prefer not to. Right? I because I think you limit how I act up there. Being a sailor, I like to say the f bomb sometimes. But if
Mhm.
I'm going to do a clean show, I'm not, I'm off my game. Because I'm thinking, okay, I can't say this. So don't slip up, don't. Because I also like if I'm producing a show and if a comic goes up there and just sucks, they're not going to look at that comic. They're going to look at the guy who's hosting or who's producing the show.
Right.
So if somebody asked me to do clean comedy, like I don't want to make this guy look bad, you know. But yeah, I don't. I like it just when it's open. Like I'm never, I don't want people to go up talking about racism or just doing like I like I tell my friend, I was like, just stop with the Jew jokes, man, because you get enough of that shit on the internet already. Like it's just not. That's the only restriction I give you. Like, don't do anything stupid. Just be up there, be funny.
I like misdirects. I like misdirects a lot.
Yeah,
Or maybe set something up and seem like I'm going to talk about a thing that people might be upset about, and then switch it up. I if I'm talking about Jewish things and things that might seem like they're going to hurt somebody's feelings, and then I talk about it in a goofy way, I juked them.
yeah, I like it. Yeah, you got to keep them on their toes. It's like wrestling. You never know what you're gonna get, right? Like
Dude,
you're watching, you're
I
like, oh
like
my god,
I
who's
like
coming out?
I definitely like to like lean into like cleaner material. I
Yeah,
don't I don't curse very much, only because I don't curse very much in my daily life.
yeah.
It's not really my lane. But I mean, like I'll throw out a couple bad words here and there, but it's not a whole ton. Tell me tell me what you think of this.
Okay.
A flower pot store run by Hasidic Jews. What would you name it?
A flower pot. The oy vases.
You got it. That's exactly. The oy vey's. See, that's not a hurt nobody's feelings.
No, it's funny. When I lived up in Massachusetts, I had a friend of mine. Her grandma had a Corvette, and they were Jewish, and then the Corvette's license plate was Oyvet, and I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. Leaning into it. So now, just one more thing,
Yep.
one or two more things, and then I'll send you off.
Okay.
Audio time travel is a segment I like to do. So you were talking earlier about wanting to be around for your grandkids. At this point, let's just say, like the internet lives forever, right?
Yep.
So this recording is going to go beyond us. So let's say not saying that no one's going to be here in 20 years. But let's just say this video recording is found by your grandchildren or your kids or the people who care about you the most 20 years from now. In in 2046, they're hearing they're hearing dad, grandpa's take as a time capsule from 2026.
Okay.
What words are you saying to them? What's the next things that you'll be saying right to them?
Okay. Ready? All right, kids. If you're seeing this, I'm not around anymore. So, you know my passwords. Log in and clear my browsing history so nobody else sees it. The other thing is,
Don't ever get stuck in a rut. Always stop and look at the flowers. Always stop and enjoy a rainbow. Go outside. Take a break from reality and go read a book and go watch a bird or go take a walk through a park. You know, enjoy life. Put the phone down when you're at a concert and be in the moment. Yeah.
Put the phone down. Not just when you're at a concert. When you're in a moment where you can live in it. Live in the moment. Choose
Yeah.
the moment over the phone any moment.
It's like the people that are out there go watch fireworks on the 4th of July and everybody's like this. Like nobody's going to watch your fucking fireworks on Facebook. Nobody. You may be like, oh my God, look at the fireworks bill post. It looks like every goddamn 4th of July around the country.
Nobody's looking at their phone going, ooh.
Sit back in the grass, put your hands behind you, and just go, this is nice.
Right.
Same thing goes at concerts. I go see Slipknot. Everybody's recording it. Nobody's going to be like, oh, I'm going to go watch Bill's copy of Slipknot that I can't hear because he doesn't have professional audio. Get in the goddamn mosh pit, fuck some shit up.
Yeah. Uh, Dude, that's such a great way to look at it. Like, I honestly, I think that going to pro wrestling shows, they should confiscate your phones from you. Like, I get the most heel heat by going, put your phone down. like, like, get off your phone and watch what we're. I'm in here risking my life to entertain you, and you're far away in Facebook
Yeah,
land.
trying to record. You know what? There's nothing wrong. Like if I was in the front row and you came up, and like you came up and I take a quick selfie, that's cool. Be like, hey, and then I can send it to you. Like this was an awesome time. But other than that, you don't need to record the match.
But yeah, people are definitely like in their own like social media is not even paying attention to what's going on. You know what I mean? It's like
You're not watching it. You're watching the phone. You're
right.
watching the recording as you're holding it up.
Be here. Be
Yeah.
here. Do you do any impressions good? Do you have any good impersonations? What's your best?
See, I like Sylvester Stallone. Like, hey, yo, no, I'm not stupid, yo. I'm a little punchy, but I'm not stupid. Or I like Rodney Dangerfield. I was like, hey, I tell you, get no respect. You know, my wife's cooking so bad, the flies fix the screen. I tell you, I get no respect. I'm so ugly, my wife dresses the kids up like me for Halloween. I go to the doctor's the other day. Doctor says, hey, I got bad news. You're going to die. I was like, Doc, I need a second opinion. He says, you're ugly too.
What what was the line that you said the flies fix something?
The flies fix the screen. That's how bad your cooking is on the
Oh,
window.
instead of flying through the holes in the
Yeah,
screen.
they fix the screen so nobody has to deal with that shit.
Oh, I see.
But my wife's cooking is spot on.
So, in your best Rodney Dangerfield,
Yep.
we're gonna wrap it up the way we wrap up every episode. You just say the line: "Be fun, have safe, keep evolving."
Be fun, have safe, keep evolving. Hey, I tell you, kids, be fun, be safe, keep evolving.
All right, awesome, Bill. Let's do this again soon, man.
Always,
We
man.
got
Just let
we
me
got
know.
we got to hang. We got to hang, and it was great meeting you. I'm super glad that we did this. And whoa, your picture just fell behind you.
Hulk
Did you
Hogan's
watch?
not happy. Is Hulk Hogan in the room now? Yes,
When
brother.
it when it comes crashing down,
Oh
that's
shit! Yes.
everybody. Everybody, if this is your first time checking out Evolving, check out all the other episodes. Check out the archives. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, comment. Let us know you exist. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to us. Be kind to others. Be fun. Have safe. Keep evolving.